Let's be brutally honest about something most people won't tell you. The hardest part of growing older isn't the wrinkles, the slower pace, or even health challenges. It's the gradual realization that people seem to be pulling away, and you can't quite figure out why. Phone calls become shorter, visits grow less frequent, and conversations feel more strained. The truth is, it's not your age that's pushing people away. It's specific habits that many older adults unknowingly develop. Here's what hurts the most. The people who love you will rarely tell you directly what's bothering them. Instead, they'll slowly create distance, make excuses, and leave you wondering why your relationships feel so different. Today, I'm going to reveal the 9 specific behaviors that silently drive people away from older adults, and more importantly, how to recognize and change them. If you're brave enough to face these truths and make changes, you won't just stop people from avoiding you. You'll actually become someone they seek out for wisdom, comfort, and connection. The most powerful insight is coming at the very end, so please stay with me through all 9 points. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because maintaining strong relationships as you age is one of life's most important skills. Comment below with your biggest concern about aging, and I promise to respond personally. Now, let's dive into these 9 relationship destroyers. Thing 1. Constant complaining and negativity. Turning every conversation into a session of complaints and criticism. Nothing pushes people away faster than constant negativity. Some older adults unknowingly transform every interaction into an opportunity to voice dissatisfaction about everything from the weather to the state of the world. Let me introduce you to Margaret, a 72-year-old woman who gradually watched her social circle shrink. Every phone call with her daughter began with complaints about her aching joints. Every coffee date with friends turned into a litany of grievances about her neighbors, the grocery store prices, and how things used to be better. What Margaret didn't realize was that people were starting to dread spending time with her because every moment felt emotionally draining. Here's the psychological reality. When we consistently complain, we're training people to associate our presence with negativity. Human beings naturally gravitate toward positivity and unconsciously avoid sources of persistent criticism and pessimism. Your frustrations might be completely valid, but when complaining becomes your primary mode of communication, you're building invisible walls between yourself and everyone you care about. The transformation starts with gratitude. For every complaint you feel tempted to share, try to mention something positive first. Talk about a beautiful sunset you witnessed, a kind gesture from a stranger, or even a good meal you enjoyed. This doesn't mean suppressing real problems, but it means creating space for joy and appreciation in your conversations. Comment the number 1 below if you recognize this pattern and want to start changing it today. Thing 2. Making health problems your only topic. Allowing your medical conditions to dominate every conversation. It's completely natural to want to share health concerns with people who care about you. But when every interaction becomes a detailed medical report, people start feeling overwhelmed rather than supportive. Picture this scenario. Your nephew calls excited to share news about his promotion, but instead of celebrating with him, you spend 30 minutes describing your latest doctor visit, medication changes, and physical discomfort. While your health struggles are real and deserve attention, making them the centerpiece of every conversation can exhaust even the most caring listeners. The solution is balance. Share your health updates briefly when appropriate, then actively shift focus to other topics. Ask about their lives, dreams, and challenges. Share memories, insights, or observations about the world around you. Show people that while you may be dealing with health issues, you're still a complete person with interests, wisdom, and curiosity about life beyond your medical conditions. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're finding value in these insights, because maintaining strong relationships requires ongoing attention and skill development. Thing 3. Believing your experience makes you right about everything. assuming that, because you've lived longer, your opinions are automatically more valuable than everyone else's. This manifests as constantly interrupting, dismissing new ideas, and turning every conversation into a lecture about how things should be done. Meet Robert, a 68-year-old retired professional who unknowingly damaged his family relationships through this exact behavior. Whenever his adult children shared workplace challenges, Robert would immediately launch into stories about how he handled similar situations decades ago. When his grandchildren tried to explain new technology or cultural changes, he'd dismiss them with phrases like, "That's nonsense," or "You'll understand when you're older." What Robert failed to understand was that his family wasn't just seeking solutions. They were trying to connect emotionally when he constantly interrupted and redirected conversations to his own experiences. He was essentially telling them that their thoughts and feelings didn't matter. True wisdom lies not in proving how much you know, but in knowing when to listen and when to speak. Practice asking questions instead of giving immediate answers. Say things like, "Tell me more about that," or "How did that make you feel?" Show genuine curiosity about others' perspectives, even when they differ from your own experience. Comment. Listen below if you're committed to becoming a better listener. Thing 4. Neglecting personal hygiene and appearance. Letting personal care standards slip to the point where it affects others' comfort. This is an uncomfortable topic that nobody wants to address directly, but poor hygiene creates an invisible barrier that pushes people away without them ever explaining why. When personal cleanliness declines, whether it's infrequent bathing, unwashed clothes, poor dental hygiene, or strong odors, people unconsciously start maintaining physical distance. They won't hurt your feelings by mentioning it directly, but they'll begin to limit close contact, make visits shorter, and create subtle boundaries. Here's what's really happening. Neglecting personal care sends an unintended message that you've given up on yourself or that you're not considering others' comfort. Good hygiene isn't about vanity. It's about dignity and respect for both yourself and the people who spend time with you. Maintaining basic cleanliness, wearing clean clothes, and taking pride in your appearance shows that you still value yourself and your relationships. If physical limitations make self-care challenging, don't hesitate to ask for help. Your dignity and your connections with others are worth the effort. Subscribe to this channel for more practical advice on maintaining respect in relationships as you age. Thing 5. Living exclusively in the past. Constantly redirecting every conversation back to the good old days or your memories from decades ago. While sharing memories can be beautiful, some older adults trap themselves and everyone around them in endless loops of nostalgia that make present-day connection nearly impossible. Consider Frank, a 75-year-old who turned every family gathering into a history lesson. When his grandchildren talked about their schools, Frank would immediately compare it to his education 50 years ago. When the family discussed current events, Frank would launch into detailed explanations of how much better things used to be. His family gradually stopped sharing their current experiences because they knew every conversation would become about Frank's past. The most beloved older adults are those who honor their past while remaining fully engaged with the present. They share memories appropriately, but they also ask questions about what's happening now. They show curiosity about modern challenges and demonstrate that while they have wisdom from experience, they're still learning and growing. Try this balance. For every story you share about the past, ask 2 questions about what's happening in their life today. Show interest in their current reality, not just your memories. Hit the like button if you're committed to staying present and engaged with today's world. Thing 6. Extreme penny pinching and financial anxiety. Allowing fear of financial insecurity to turn you into someone who obsesses over every expense to the point of making others uncomfortable. While financial responsibility is wise, extreme penny pinching creates an atmosphere of scarcity that makes people feel unwelcome. This might look like refusing to contribute to family meals, agonizing over every small purchase, or making others feel guilty for any spending. When every interaction involves money anxiety or criticism of expenses, people start feeling like they're walking on eggshells around you. The deeper truth is that occasional generosity, even in small ways, creates emotional connection. When you buy a grandchild a small treat, contribute to a family dinner, or offer to pay for coffee with a friend, you're investing in relationships. You're showing that people matter more to you than money. This doesn't mean being financially irresponsible, but finding a balance between reasonable caution and the generosity that nurtures relationships. Set aside a small amount each month specifically for relationship building, and use it for occasional gifts or experiences that bring joy to others. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message about balancing financial wisdom with relational generosity. Thing 7. Using gossip and criticism as entertainment. Filling conversations with gossip and negative commentary about other people. Many older adults fall into this toxic pattern without realizing how destructive it becomes to their relationships. Using criticism of others as their primary form of social entertainment and connection. Meet Dorothy, a 70-year-old woman who gradually lost most of her close relationships through this exact habit. Every phone call with her sister became a detailed report about what was wrong with their other siblings. Every coffee date with friends turned into a session of criticizing absent neighbors and their life choices. Every family gathering became an opportunity to share negative observations about relatives who weren't present to defend themselves. What Dorothy failed to understand was the psychological impact of her constant criticism. Every time she gossiped about someone else, the person listening couldn't help thinking, if she talks about others this way when they're not here, what does she say about me when I'm not around? This creates a fundamental breakdown of trust that extends far beyond the people being discussed. Gossip doesn't just damage relationships with the people you're talking about. It destroys the sense of safety and trust with the people you're talking to. When you consistently use your words to tear others down, you create an atmosphere of judgment and negativity that makes people feel unsafe sharing personal information with you. They start editing themselves, holding back genuine thoughts, and keeping conversations at a surface level because they don't trust you with deeper sharing. The most respected and beloved older adults are those who use their words to build people up rather than tear them down. They share encouragement, celebrate others' successes, and speak with kindness even about people who aren't present. When they do need to address legitimate concerns about someone, they do so with wisdom and love, not malicious entertainment. Make a commitment today to be known as someone whose words heal rather than wound. When you feel the urge to share negative information about someone, ask yourself, will saying this build up relationships or tear them down? Comment positive below if you commit to using your words to encourage rather than criticize. Thing 8. Stubbornly resisting all change and new ideas. Proudly refusing to adapt to any changes in the world around you. While some traditions and values should absolutely be preserved, completely resisting all change creates an insurmountable barrier between you and everyone else who is navigating the modern world. This resistance manifests in numerous ways that gradually isolate older adults from meaningful connections. Some refuse to learn any new technology, making communication difficult for family members who live far away and rely on smartphones, video calls, or social media to stay connected. Others dismiss all contemporary music, movies, or cultural developments as worthless, making it nearly impossible for younger family members to share their interests and passions. Some older adults resist new ways of doing familiar things so strongly that they become isolated from normal social interactions. They might refuse to use credit cards, online banking, or even simple conveniences that everyone else has adopted, creating unnecessary complications for family members who want to include them in activities. Here's the devastating isolation trap. When you refuse to adapt to anything new, you're essentially building walls between yourself and the world that everyone else is living in. Your family stops trying to include you in modern activities because they know you'll resist or complain. Friends stop sharing new experiences with you because they expect negative reactions. Grandchildren stop trying to connect with you about their interests because they know you'll dismiss them as meaningless. The most socially connected older adults are those who maintain their core values while staying curious about new developments. They don't have to love everything modern, but they show interest in understanding the world their loved ones are navigating. They might learn basic texting to stay connected with grandchildren, try new restaurants, or at least listen respectfully when others share contemporary interests. Adaptation doesn't mean abandoning who you are or compromising your fundamental beliefs. It means staying connected to the people you love and showing them that relationships matter more to you than comfort or stubborn pride. When you show willingness to learn something new or try something different, you're demonstrating openness and humility that draws people closer. Like this video if you're willing to stay curious and open-minded as you continue aging gracefully. Thing 9. Surrendering personal dignity and self-respect. And this is the most relationship-damaging habit of all. Completely giving up on yourself and abandoning all sense of personal dignity and self-worth. This goes far beyond the physical neglect we discussed earlier. This is about surrendering your sense of purpose and allowing yourself to become helpless even when you're still capable of meaningful contribution. Meet William, a 73-year-old man who gradually gave up on every aspect of personal excellence that once defined him. He stopped setting any goals for himself, stopped caring about meaningful activities, and essentially resigned himself to just existing rather than truly living. He became increasingly dependent on others for things he could still do himself, complained constantly about his limitations while making no effort to work within them, and treated every day as something to endure rather than experience. What William didn't realize was that his surrender to helplessness and self-pity made others lose respect for him, not because of his age or limitations, but because of his attitude. His adult children found themselves frustrated because they knew he was capable of more than he was attempting. His friends gradually distanced themselves because his negativity and defeatist attitude became emotionally draining. Instead of seeing a wise elder worthy of respect, people saw someone who had simply given up on life. Here's the powerful truth about dignity and aging that changes everything. Self-respect is not about maintaining perfect physical strength or complete independence in every area of life. It's about continuing to contribute where you can, setting achievable goals, maintaining your sense of purpose, and carrying yourself with pride regardless of your limitations. It's about standing tall even when you need help, speaking with confidence even when your voice is softer, and maintaining your identity even when circumstances change. The most admired older adults are those who face challenges with grace, continue learning and growing despite difficulties, and find ways to contribute to others' lives even when they need more support themselves. They ask for help when needed without becoming helpless. They acknowledge limitations without surrendering their fundamental dignity and self-worth. Your age and any physical limitations don't define your worth as a human being. Your attitude, your continued effort, and your ongoing engagement with life do. When you maintain self-respect, you naturally command respect from others. When you give up on yourself, you make it tragically easy for others to give up on you too. Comment your most inspiring personal story below, because sharing wisdom and resilience encourages others to maintain their dignity too. Final thought: choosing connection over isolation. As we reach the end of our time together, I want you to understand something that could transform your remaining years. It's not old age that makes people avoid you. It's the habits you choose to carry into old age. Every behavior we've discussed today represents a daily choice about who you want to be and how you want to be remembered. The moment you begin transforming these toxic patterns, you don't just prevent people from avoiding you. You actually become magnetic. You become the elder that people seek out for wisdom, comfort, and genuine connection. The older adults who command love and respect aren't those without challenges. They're those who face their challenges with grace, wisdom, and dignity. Here's your action plan for transformation. Choose just one of these 9 behaviors to focus on this week. Don't try to change everything at once because that leads to overwhelm and giving up. Pick the one that resonated most strongly with you. Perhaps the one that made you uncomfortable because you recognized yourself in it. Make one small positive change each day related to that behavior. If you struggle with complaining, practice starting conversations with something positive. If you dominate discussions, commit to asking questions. If you've been resistant to change, learn one new thing this week, no matter how small. Most importantly, focus on giving rather than receiving. Instead of worrying about whether people love and respect you, concentrate on how you can love and respect others better. When you shift from seeking attention to giving attention, from demanding respect to showing respect, you naturally become the kind of person others want to be around. Remember this vital truth. You have more power than you realize to shape how people experience you. Every conversation is an opportunity to be a blessing rather than a burden. Every interaction is a chance to add joy rather than drain energy. Every day is a new opportunity to be the kind of elder that others admire and want to emulate. Your later years don't have to be defined by loneliness or family members who visit out of duty. They can be filled with genuine love, deep respect, and relationships that grow stronger with time. But this transformation requires intentional choices and consistent effort over the next 30 days. Commit to implementing these changes one small step at a time. Pay attention to how people respond differently as you modify these behaviors. Most importantly, don't wait for others to change how they treat you before you change how you treat them. Before you go, I need you to do 3 important things. First, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because I'm committed to helping you create the meaningful, respected later years you deserve. Second, leave a comment sharing which behavior you're committing to change first. Your commitment will help hold you accountable and inspire others on the same journey. Third, share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Whether it's another older adult struggling with these issues or a younger family member trying to understand how to build better relationships with elders, your sharing could save precious relationships. Thank you for having the courage to examine these challenging topics with me today. Remember, your best years can still be ahead of you if you're willing to make the choices that create connection rather than isolation. The power is in your hands, and I believe in your ability to use it wisely. I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue building the wisdom you need for a truly fulfilling later life.